Hey guys, how you doing? I hope that you're so fine. And just let me tell you that during this one and the next week, we're gonna work with the unit number 7, and it's called My Day. So for this way, we're gonna work with the lesson number 1 that is called time and the lesson number 2 that is meals. So let's start. First of all, as an introduction, guys, we're gonna work with hours and minutes. So it's important, guys, to remember that we have digital and analog clocks, that an hour has 60 minutes, and the vocabulary that we're gonna work with is o'clock, 15 or quarter, 30 or half, past, and 2. Also, we have to practice the numbers as why and the unit number 6 we will practice them. As the vocabulary, as I told you at the beginning, we have four different words. In the number 1, you can find o'clock. That means that we have, for example, 12 o'clock, 12 and two zeros. In the number 2, you have 15 and quarter, and it's exactly the same. That means 15 minutes. In the other, you have 30 and half. For example, the time we have 12:30, that means 30 minutes, and past and 2. As you can see, you have, for example, 12:30, or is the same 30 past 12. In the other example, you have 12:45 or 15 to 1. Let's start working with our book. That's why you have to be prepared and pay attention to this.
Page 64, Unit 7, My Day. Lesson 1, Time. A. Listen, point, and say. 1,
1 o'clock,
2,
1:15,
3,
1:30,
4,
1:45,
5,
2 o'clock,
It's important for you to practice all the numbers and to try to work with both kinds of clocks, that they are analogs and digitals. Then, according to the time, we have to do this activity that is in your student book, and this is according to time. So that's why you have to be very careful and pay attention to this.
Page 64. B. Listen and number. 1. Let's play a game. 1 o'clock.
It's this clock. It's a red clock.
Good. 2. 2:15.
I can see that clock. It's the flower clock.
That's right. 3. Now, ready? 3:45.
Look, it's the car clock.
Yes. 4. What about this one? 9:30.
It's that big purple and yellow clock.
5. 11 o'clock.
It's the bear. The bear. There.
6. What about 6 o'clock?
6 o'clock. It's that clock. The triangle.
Yes. Okay.
It's gonna be easy for you guys if you pay attention to the audio. You have to listen to the descriptions of each clock. Then we're gonna go to our workbook and we're gonna work on it. The exercise A says circle. That's why you have to check the clock and then check the 3 options that you have in order to circle what is the correct answer. In the exercise B, it says draw. That's why you have to draw what is the correct time according to the one that you have below. Then you have to write the time again. Now, this is important. Once that we are going to say the time, it's important to add the word it, in this case, it's or it is. For example, in the first clock, you have 9. It's 9 o'clock. In the second, you have 7:30 or it's 7:30. Now, we're going to continue working with this, and here you have some examples of this.
Page 65. C. Listen and say. Then practice.
It's 1 o'clock. It's 1:15. It's. It is.
1,
It's 1 o'clock.
2,
It's 1:15.
3,
It's 1:30.
4,
It's 1:45.
5,
It's 2 o'clock.
Once that you already know how to set a time, you can say also with the contraction. Here we have some other examples.
Page 65. D. Listen, ask, and answer. Then practice.
What time is it?
It's 1 o'clock.
What time is it?
It's 1:15. 1,
What time is it? It's 1 o'clock.
2,
What time is it?
It's 6:15.
3,
What time is it? It's 4:30.
4,
What time is it?
It's 4:45.
5,
What time is it? It's 3 o'clock.
6,
What time is it?
It's 10:30.
Remember, guys, that every time that we have to ask for the time, we have to say, what time is it? Then we're going to go back to our workbook and we have to complete this according to the time. As you can see in the first example, you have the phrase, it's 2 o'clock. So please don't forget to write it's at the beginning of your sentence. In the other, you have in the number 2, the number 10, and the number 30. So you have to do the same with the number 2, 3, and 4. Then in the exercise E, it says write. So in this case, you have to add the question at the beginning, like what time is it? And then to write what is the correct time. Then here we have the lesson number 2, meals, and here we are going to listen the words of the vocabulary.
Page 66. Lesson 2. Meals. A. Listen, point, and say. 1,
Breakfast.
2,
Lunch.
3,
Snack.
4,
Dinner.
Those 4 words are very, very important because we're going to use them later. So please practice them. Here you have the other grammar part, and this is very important, guys, because we are going to work with them later in our workbook or maybe in the next class that we have on Saturday. So here you have the questions about time and first person. Maybe if you find this question like, when do you eat breakfast? Maybe I'm going to have 2 possible options of an answer. For example, I eat breakfast at 7 o'clock or we eat breakfast at 7 o'clock. So that's why you have the first person. It's important to check this. If you remember, maybe in class I told you that the word do is an auxiliary, and this is very important to write it when I'm doing a question. Here we had some examples about the last example that I showed you in the last slide. So please listen to it.
Page 66. B. Listen, ask, and answer. Then practice.
When do you eat breakfast?
I eat breakfast at 7 o'clock.
When do you eat breakfast?
We eat breakfast at 7 o'clock.
A snack.
1,
When do you eat breakfast?
I eat breakfast at 7 o'clock.
2,
When do you eat lunch? We eat lunch at 12 o'clock.
3,
When do you eat a snack?
I eat a snack at 3:30.
4,
When do you eat dinner?
We eat dinner at 7:15.
As you can listen, guys, you have the only two nouns that are I and that is we. Also, as you can see in the box that is on the top, you have a snack. When we're using the word snack, it's important to add the article a at the beginning. A snack. Then we're gonna go back to our workbook and we have to do this exercise that is unscramble. As you can see on the box, you have the 4 words that we saw in the vocabulary and we have to write them correctly in each picture. That's why you have, for example, in the number 1, 7 o'clock. So what do you eat at that time? You have there the letters, so try to write the correct word. In the letter B, according to the exercise A, you have to check each picture in order to answer this. For example, in the number 1, when do you eat breakfast? I eat breakfast at 7 o'clock. Then in the number 2, when do you eat? What is the kind of meal that is eaten at the time? And then we eat what at 12:30? What do you think that is the correct meal? Now, this is something similar to some slides before, but in this case it's questions about time, but now in third person. That means something that is important for you to understand. As you can see here, you have one example that says, when does he or she eat breakfast? We have 2 possible answers. He eats breakfast at 7 o'clock or she eats breakfast at 7 o'clock. It's important that when you are writing the answer, you have to write the letter S at the beginning of the verb. If you're using he, she, or it, you have to write that S. Then, it's important to check this. If you remember in this last slide, I underlined the word do. In this case, my auxiliary is gonna be does. Check this chart in which we are using the questions about when do you or when does he or when does she eat breakfast.
Page 67. C. Listen, ask, and answer. Then practice.
When does he eat breakfast?
He eats breakfast at 7 o'clock.
When does she eat breakfast?
She eats breakfast at 7 o'clock. 1,
When does he eat breakfast? He eats breakfast at 7 o'clock.
2,
When does he eat lunch?
He eats lunch at 12:30.
3,
When does he eat a snack? He eats a snack at 4:15.
4,
When does he eat dinner?
He eats dinner at 7:45.
5,
When does she eat breakfast? She eats breakfast at 7 o'clock.
6,
When does she eat lunch?
She eats lunch at 12:45.
7,
When does she eat a snack? She eats a snack at 4:30.
8,
When does she eat dinner?
She eats dinner at 6:15.
It's important to practice this kind of questions and answers, guys. So we're gonna have a little exercise when we meet again in our class that is on Saturday. Check. The last exercise that you have to do in your workbook, it's you have to look at this chart You have a girl, you have a boy, and the word that is you. Check. As a breakfast, we have here that the time of the girl is 6:45. The lunch is 12:30, a snack at 4 o'clock, and dinner at 7:15. According to the questions, it says, when does she eat a snack? You have to go to the chart and look for the time. When, and you have to complete what is the correct question, and then write your answer using the time. Now, according to you, you have to complete the chart according to what time do you eat breakfast? At what time do you eat lunch? What time do you eat a snack? And what time do you eat a dinner? For homework, guys, you have to answer your workbook from the page 64 until the page 67. And the number 2, you have to answer your activity in territorio. And the number 3, you have to just check that you have your everybody up answered until the unit number 6, lesson 1, 2, 3, 4, and the review number 3. That's it, guys. I hope that you have a nice week and see you next Saturday.